Hello all, very good evening. This is Karthik from RAS Cloud Technologies. I welcome you all to today's AWS Data Engineering Batch 1 introduction session. Thanks for joining the session. Let me start with our YouTube channel. So this is our YouTube channel, RAS Informatica Real-Time Hands-on Job-Based Training. We have we have almost 36K subscribers here, and we have uploaded like more than 460 plus sessions. Yes, Aita, this is the introduction class actually. Okay. Yeah. In this channel, you can find out like many videos related to different technologies like cybersecurity, Power BI, Snowflake, AI and ML, Azure Data Engineering and Databricks, Informatica, AWS, DevOps, and many other courses. Okay. So just visit our channel once. If you like our content, like the videos, comment on it, and subscribe to our channel for more videos. I have just shared the link over Zoom chat. Over Zoom chat, I have shared the link with you. Okay, so use this link and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we have a Instagram page as well, Raz Informatica. This is our Instagram page, and we have almost 3,000 plus subscribers here, followers here. Okay, so exclusively we use Instagram for job postings. Whenever we have some job referrals or any kind of referrals are available, any openings are available in the market, so we will be posting those openings and referrals here in our Instagram story. So please do follow our Instagram page as well, so that you'll get all the updates here about the new courses, about the openings, everything you can get it here, everything you can expect here. Okay. Yes. Let me show our website as well. So this is our website, razinformatica.com. Initially, like we started the institute with Informatica Power Center training. That is the reason why it was razinformatica.com. Okay. So after adding many cloud technologies here, we have changed Raz Informatica to Raz Cloud Technologies. On the left top corner, you can see here, Raz Informatica is now Raz Cloud Technologies. So this is the institute name now, and this is our home page. If you just scroll down a bit, you can see here what are the trainings we are offering right now in RAS Cloud Technologies. We are offering generative AI program, Informatica Data Quality and Cloud Data Quality, AWS Data Engineering, Azure Data Engineering and Databricks, Snowflake in the combination of DBT and ADF, Informatica Power Center, Informatica Cloud ISS IDMC, Artificial Intelligence with Machine Learning using Python, cybersecurity and ethical hacking program, Microsoft Power BI data analyst program, GCP professional certification training, SAP S4 HANA and FICO, Python full stack development and Python for data science, Python for AI and chat GPT, Salesforce and AWS and DevOps. Okay. So these are the different programs that we are offering from RAS Cloud Technologies. Just above this section, you can see a section called upcoming free live sessions. In this upcoming free live session section, you can find out the session links. Okay, whatever the free sessions that we are offering from RAS Cloud Technologies, all the session links will be available here. Today you can see here Informatica IDQ and CDQ at 7 p.m. on 1st September. Okay, and AWS Data Engineering at 8 p.m. on 1st September. And tomorrow we have Snowflake and Artificial Intelligence with Machine Learning as well. Okay, this is how whatever the upcoming free live sessions are also available. All the session links you can find out here in this upcoming free live session section. Got it? Yes. Apart from these things, we have also uploaded like many interview questions here. You can check out, and many useful materials are also available. And internships, we are offering internship programs for freshers, exclusively only for freshers. Okay, the people who passed out in the year 2025 and who is going to pass out in the year 2026. For these people, internship programs are also available. If you want to know more about AWS Data Engineering program, just click on courses here. Click on AWS Data Engineering. Click on AWS Data Engineering. Okay. So here is the complete information about this particular course, AWS Data Engineering. If you just scroll down here, you can check out the things, the technologies that what we are clearing here, that Python programming, Jupyter Notebook, PySpark, AWS Glue, AWS Athena, AWS Redshift, AWS S3 and Lambda, AWS Cloud Formation, and many others. You can see here after completion of this course, like what are the job roles that you can apply for. Okay. And the complete course curriculum. Everything is available here in this page. Okay. And the price as well. The price and the session timings also. So the session timings are 8 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. IST on every day, Monday to Friday. Monday to Friday. So this is the timings 8 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. IST. If you scroll down here, you can check out the information about your instructor as well. He's Mr. Anuj, yes. And here is the complete profile of him. And like I'll just like hand over the session to Anuj Garu. There you can know more about him. Okay. Yes. This is the complete information about AWS data engineering. Today there is some special offer is also available. Just to stay connected till end of the session so that you can get the best price of this course and you can know more about the program as well. Okay. Yes. Before starting the session, I just need some information from your end, that your name and WhatsApp numbers, so that I can share you today's session recording as well. I can share you today's session recording as well with you. Okay. I just need your name and WhatsApp numbers. Name and WhatsApp numbers. Just drop this information here over chat, over Zoom chat. You'll get today's session recording and material to your WhatsApp number. And you'll also get this, and you'll also get uh, this one like AWS Data Engineering real-time project WhatsApp group link also. Both the things you'll get it. You can just drop your name and WhatsApp number here. We'll start the session very soon. Once you share this information, we'll start the session. We'll just take a minute of time. We'll just take a minute of time. Okay. Just drop your name and WhatsApp numbers over chat. Okay, so that you will get all the information, all the information over chat, and WhatsApp group link also you will be getting. And today's session recording also you can get it. Okay. Yes. Just to stay connected till end of the session. You are going to get the complete information and the schedule about this week and the next week as well. Okay. As I can see, still people are sharing. The chat is open for everyone. The chat is open for everyone. Keep sharing. I'll just hand over the session to our trainer, Anuj Garu. Anuj Garu, over to you, please.
Yeah, thank you, Karthik. Hello, am I audible now? Can please someone confirm? Am I audible? Okay. So quickly, I'll introduce myself. So I have like 15 years of IT experience. I worked for Microsoft, Apple, and then parallelly, I'm giving trainings also. Trainings on the data engineering, not on only on the AWS data engineering part. We are covering the most of the data engineering part, because AWS, Azure, or GCP, those are just a cloud. But if you know the data engineering part, end to end, cloud is not a matter. You can learn AWS, GCP, or Azure. But the main concept of data engineering, how we are building a solution, how we are building a pipeline, those ETL tools, the real use cases, those are the main important factor that we are going to discuss today. Let me quickly share my screen. Is it visible? Okay, so this session will going to be complete hands-on session, and coming whatever the coming session, those are all the hands-on session. So it's basically the theory part. How I'll going to take this training, I'll explain little bit, and if you have any questions, let's take the question and then we'll go forward with this. Okay, I'll be sharing this page also so that you guys can access whatever we can discuss in this class. Okay, so as we are discussing about AWS data engineering part, so what is this data engineering? Why we need this data engineering in our IT industry? So before we have like data analyst, right? But nowadays we are not seeing these data analysts getting the jobs, because now they are transforming all these data analysts to the data engineers. So what is the main role of data engineering? Let's say if we are planning to learn this data engineering, first we should know, right, why we need this data engineering to learn. If we are getting a job, or if you're planning to switch, right, after switching, what kind of the role that you're looking for, what is the main work that will be working in some company, right? So let's say if we know the SQL, let's say we are a SQL developer, we'll be writing the SQL queries, right? If we have the Python developer, so they are just not writing the Python codes only, right? So they are making some application out of it. And if you are a SQL developer, you are just not writing the queries what we are learning here, like select, insert, those query. So by using this languages, you will be making some kind of application, right? So same as in data engineering side, we have major two thing in IT sector currently. We have the batch processing, okay, and the real time processing. So you'll be making the pipeline. And what is this pipeline? Every time I'm saying this pipeline, what is this pipeline? Okay, so pipeline means it's very simple. Let's say you have the source. Okay, source means what? From where you are getting the data. Let's take one example, very simple example. Let's say this Flipkart. Okay, all know this, right? What is happening when, let's say, this is the user interface for Flipkart? You guys are logging here and you are looking into some shoes or some clothes, and you are trying to add those things in your cart. What is happening after that? In backend, what is happening in the Flipkart server, and how they are managing those things? So you guys can relate one thing. Okay, I'll give you one very simple example. First, you need to understand why we are learning this data engineering, then we'll go to the syllabus part. Okay, let's say this Flipkart, you scrolled and you're looking for some Adidas shoes. Okay, Adidas shoes. You'll be just looking into these, maybe you'll added this into your cart. Okay, immediately if you go to your Facebook or the Instagram, you'll be seeing those ads, the same shoes ads. How you'll be seeing all those ads? Is there anything this Flipkart is sharing those data to the Facebook or Instagram people? Is it? Then how they're showing those ads in your other third party applications, or in normal Google page also you'll be seeing those ads only. So this is kind of advertisement market, but there also they are using this data engineering. Okay, so immediately you're, whatever the things you are doing in the Flipkart, they are just tracking all the events. Let's say you logged in at what time you logged in, where you clicked. Okay, and what are the things that you, let's say in Adidas, this shows you invested like 10 second of time, and next you invested 2 second of time, right? They are just tracking all this data. So these data is, let's say these data are some source. Okay, so from Flipkart we are generating those kind of data. So this I'm telling this is a source. So we once generated the data. So our main target is some target, right? So this target should be any table, right? Any file system or anything. Okay, so once this data are generated, let's say from the Flipkart this data are generated. Okay, after that, so those data are kind of event form. Okay, maybe the messy kind of data. So those data looks like you have some user ID, right? You have some events there, you have some time there, so it's kind of log data, let's say. Okay, so those log data is not very useful for your business, for Flipkart also, not for other businesses also. So they need to transform those data, right? So they are just taking this source data, they are doing some kind of transformation here. Okay, and then they are putting into some target. So after that, once you put this into the target, this target will be maybe from this you'll be creating some reports, maybe some Power BI team will be there, maybe some machine learning team will be there, right? Maybe some AI team will be there. So you are the first person who are taking this data, modifying this data for these many persons. So all the teams, all these report guys like Power BI, ClickView, or the QuickSight in AWS, right? So those developers are dependent on your data. Okay, those ml engineers are dependent on your data. Once you provide the proper data, because by using this mixed kind of data, I'll show you those data, how those data are looking like once you create those APIs and those things, right? So those data are not very useful. The data engineers should create those data in some meaningful manners and put those into some tables so that this ML team can access those data, then AI team can access those data. So all these thing is happening in real time. So this kind of thing we are calling as a real time pipeline. Okay, and the batch processing means what? It is not a real time. We are not doing anything in real time. Okay, I'll give you one example of batch pipeline also. Let's say we have one hospital. Okay, so once you visit a hospital, you'll see in reception, one lady is sitting here, right? And she's asking some questions to all the patients, right? What is the patient name, right? What is the age? Which doctor you want to see or which department you want to see? So basically, this lady is maintaining one Excel sheet, right? This Excel sheet. So in this Excel sheet, let's say she's maintaining this kind of data. Okay, so is having one, two, three, let's say 1 TB of data. Okay, the name, all the details she's putting here, right? After that, at the end of the day, they want this data to build some kind of report. This hospital, let's say this hospital ABC. Okay, we'll just extend this example. Let's say we have this particular city. Okay, so in this city, we have multiple areas. So this hospital located here, let's say. Okay. Now in this hospital, they are every day they are generating this kind of Excel sheet. So every day they are seeing like 100 patients are coming, and all the patients are coming from maybe the same city but some different location. Like let's say this location. Okay. So now at the year, let's say after an year, they analyze this data. How they are going to analyze? By this Excel sheet? No, right? So what they will do, so every day are creating this Excel sheet for, let's say, first 2025 they created one Excel sheet. Okay, with the 100 customers, 100 patients. Then in second 2025, again they created one Excel sheet. Likewise, in a month they created 31 Excel sheet, right? So they want to load all this data. So these Excel sheet are where they are in this hospital, because all this data are very confidential to this hospital, right? So this hospital, what they will do, they'll hire some kind of IT sector. Let's say they hired Infosys. Okay, they hired Infosys. They asked this Infosys saying that we have this kind of data, okay, but we are not going to share all the Excel sheet to your server because this is confidential. You need to take this data from our server, and we want some kind of business intelligence, BI, or some kind of AI they wanted to make, let's say. Okay, for keep it simple, let's focus on business intelligence. They wanted to answer, they wanted to get some kind of answers to their question. Okay, what kind of questions will be there? So from which city we are getting huge number of patients, which area of this city we are getting like uh, more orthopedic patients, which city we can focus more on advertisement part, right? And in this city where we need to focus for the heart hospital, right? So those kind of answers they want. So this lady is preparing those Excel sheet. Now what Infosys will do, Infosys will create a proper pipeline. How? So this is a server, let's say, for this hospital, ABC hospital. Okay, now they will create this Infosys. What Infosys will do, so Infosys having the data engineer team of data engineers. Okay, what they will do, for them this is the source. Okay, they will just read this data. Okay, all the Excel sheet they will read, and they will just transform it. Maybe this lady, the lady uh, she was just entering those numbers, right? Maybe she missed some phone numbers, she missed some email ID, she missed some kind of data also. Maybe she missed some columns also, some null values are there. Or she maybe entered like uh, only the first name, not last name. Maybe say she forgot to enter the first name and last name for any patient. Those kind of errors will be there, let's say. So those kind of errors they are filtering it out. Okay, after that they are transforming all the data, and they are putting into some kind of database, let's say. Okay, after this database, once they will transform this data and put into this database, what they will do, let's say your Power BI will access this database, and they will create some kind of report out of it. Okay, they will just write a simple SQL query to get this. Now they have the proper data in their table, so that this hospital can get all the answers of their questions. Okay, so this kind of process we are calling as batch processing. Why we are calling as a batch processing? Let's say this hospital is let's say 10-year-old. Okay, now they want to put all this 10-year data to this database, right? So every month they are having 31 files, Excel files. Okay, so in a month they are having in a year they are having how many files? This many files. In 10 years they are having this many files. Let's say one file is having 1 GB of data. Okay, so then these many files are having almost this many of data. So this is a huge data, right? So to process this huge data, we are not simply write those ETL tool or ETL, some kind of ETL tool. So for this we need to use some kind of data engineering tools. Okay, so those data engineering tools, what are the tools? Like AWS, in AWS lots of services which will provide all kind of this kind of services. And uh, all the companies are looking for the cost optimization. They need to have the proper performance optimization part. They will not blindly go and implement some Python code or the Java code, right? So you need to create the proper architecture of it, how the source will come. Let's say by reading only 10 files you'll be taking 2 hours. This is not correct, right? So we need to have the proper optimization techniques also. Okay, so every time I'm saying like we are putting some this data into some database or some file system, right? Or some APIs, let's say we are doing some kind of transformation. Every time I'm calling this source. So all this thing will be implemented by using some kind of technology, right? So for that, now we'll move to the technology part. What are the technology? Those are very important to learn this data engineering. Any questions for now? Let's take a question for 5 minutes and then we'll start with the topics. No questions? Okay. So before going to the technology part, we need some basic understanding of the system also. Maybe you guys already have, or if you not have, we'll discuss in this class. Okay, how we are going to do the projects and how we are going to target our complete course, right? So we'll be focusing on everything in the IT industry, how the IT industry follows their standard. We'll be learning same kind of things. Okay, how we are learning is, so we need to have the basic understanding of GitHub, Git, and then we'll be using the VS Code. Okay, so all of you can create the Git repo. We'll have just one session of this Git repo and one session of this VS Code. How we are going to manage all this Git and VS Code, how we are writing the, just a second. Yeah, how we are going to write those AWS CLI in VS Code, those things we'll be going to see. So all this basic thing, those setups you need to do. So we'll be starting with that. So this is just an introduction class. So we'll be discussing. So this kind of project we'll be doing. So all this thing. So this kind of setup you need to do. Will have the proper branch, all the repository where we'll write all the AWS codes, all the glue codes. Okay, and will be writing everything like real time projects. Okay, it's not just going to learn the things like theoretical things. Most of the classes will be the practical classes. Okay, it's not just a theory and theory classes, so that once you'll get the job, or if you're trying to switch, so once you'll get into the job, you'll be able to understand the complete flow. For the data engineerings, the main pain is to understand the pipeline. Let's say you join some company and some existing projects are there, you need to understand those. That is the very painful thing, to understand those things. So we'll be targeting to understand those kind of concept also. Okay, other than that, let's focus on what are the things that we are going to cover in our data engineering syllabus. So the first thing is Python fundamentals. Okay, so I'm assuming most of you have basic understanding of any programming language, maybe C, C++, Java, Python, right? So if you have the basic understanding of it, it's a very easy to understand this Python. So for the data engineering, it's not like you need to know all about the Python. So we'll be covering all the important topics like the variables. This is the very basic. Those who have like very for the phrasers who don't know about the programming languages, for them we are be covering the variables, and then the operators, and then we have control flows. Control flows, here it's a very easy if else part, loops, those kind of thing, and then we'll cover the function. Okay, so this function is important. Other than that, we'll cover some basic thing of module and packages, how we'll create all this thing. Here we'll understand what is the import, what is this name, how to use in our project, what is this main. Okay, so why we are learning this Python? Because in AWS side we'll be using the Lambda. Okay, so Lambda will look like this. See, here you need to write the Python code directly. Okay, so here you need to write the Python code, or if you know Java, you can write the Java. If you know .NET, you can write .NET. So in this course, you'll be focusing on Python only. So all the Lambda function will be creating by using Lambda, Python. Okay. Now, so this is the main thing where nowadays now companies are more focusing on this Lambda part. Why? Because this is serverless, very less price, cost optimization side, all the, let's say, informatica, right? And some other ETL tools. Now they are trying to use this AWS Lambda just for doing the cost optimization. I'll just give you one very basic understanding of the cost optimization part. Let's say before, by using these tools and other technologies, if you are paying 100 rupees for loading just 1 GB of data, so now your cost will reduce by almost 80 to 90%, right? Now you'll be end up paying only 10 to 20 rupees, right? So this much of cost optimization is there. So all the companies are now moving into this Lambda part. Okay, now after Python, in Python only we'll cover the data structure, the basic data structure. Okay, so those are list, tuple, set, dictionaries, all the list and set comprehension, the basic of like stacks, what is the stack, queue, just for understanding. Okay, so these are comes under the collection part. Okay, other than that, very important for the data engineers, that is string operations. In string operation will be mostly covering on regex part, all the slicing, joins, these are very important, all the formatting part. Why I'm calling this as a important, I'll show you. Okay, after that, again very important, third point is file and data handling. This is just a Python only. Okay, file and data handling, mostly in ETL will be using this in our Python. Okay, so all the file IO, input output, how to open the file, how to write the file, how to manage those file, and then all the file system like CSV, JSON, XML, how to pass this XML, right? And then we have multiple file systems also. Those things will be covering in uh, data engineering part, maybe in Spark part like Parquet, ORC, Avro. So all these things, once you complete data engineering, let's say once you work for data engineering like 3 to 4 years or 5 years, if you're planning to move to the ML side or the data science thing or the AI side, these are very useful topics. Okay. And then we'll understand what is OS and the how we'll handle the path. Okay. So it's kind of globe. Maybe you heard all these technologies. The keywords are there. Now we'll cover the oops also, just a basic of oops, like what is classes, objects, okay, methods, inheritance, polymorphism, encapsulation, like abstract classes, those things. Okay. So we are not going to invest our much time in Python because our main goal is to understand the AWS part, all the services of AWS, and how we'll divide our session is we'll be giving 20% of time to Python. Okay. And then 10% of time to the data warehouse, where we'll understand the all the concept of data warehouse. And then rest time will be dividing in Spark and AWS. Okay. So Spark and AWS, why I'm calling together is because once you know the Spark, right, once you know the Python, you'll be able to understand this Spark code wise. Okay. Maybe I'll show you some code of Spark. It's very easy. uh, so if you see, so these are the Spark codes. So this is the Python codes. So it's a very easy code actually. This kind of Python codes, Spark codes are there. It will look like just a Python. If you know the Python thing, very good at Python, it's very easy to understand this Spark and PySpark. Only thing is the main part of this Spark, for cracking any interview, you'll be getting almost 70 to 80% of your question from Spark optimization. Okay, performance tuning, right? How the cluster will set up, like what is the worker node, all those things, executors. If they will ask lots of scenario based questions, so we'll be more focusing on those kind of thing. Okay. And we'll be doing, for by ending of each topic of this Spark and AWS, will be covering at least one project, maybe the simple project which will take only 30 to 40 minutes of time. Will be covering the lots of projects. Let's say we are learning about Lambda, so once you'll complete the Lambda, we'll do at least two projects to understand this Lambda, because learning Lambda is very easy, but how to implement with your use cases, those kind of use cases are very important. Let's say sometime if you'll have the XML file, sometime you'll have the JSON file, sometime you need to insert those data into Redshift, sometime you need to insert into S3 only. Okay. So all these use case, maybe at the same time you want to use 10 Lambda. Okay. Let's say this Lambda 1 is passing the value to Lambda 2, and Lambda 2 is passing the value to Lambda 3, Lambda 3 is passing the value to Lambda 4, right? After that, Lambda 4 will write the data to Redshift, and then if successful, this will pass to Lambda 5, and this Lambda 5 will write the data to S3. So this kind of setup, once you'll understand, will understand the complete flow of the data engineering part. Okay, after covering ops, some part of pandas also will see, just for at least one class of pandas. Okay, and we'll have the boto 3 class. What is this boto 3? In AWS Lambda, it's very important, boto 3. Okay, so all the AWS services, let's say S3, Lambda, Glue, Redshift, we need to use all this boto 3. So you have the boto 3 documentation, or official documentation is also there. Okay, and we'll understand the basic of APIs, how APIs will work, how to read the data from API, and we'll have some kind of free APIs, how to get those data and how to implement those data in our system by using Spark and Python. Okay, so those kind of thing we'll see in Python. Okay, once we'll complete this Python, we'll go to the Spark. Okay, so Spark side, we have like huge syllabus of Spark. Any question for Python and till now? Okay, we'll take all the questions. Okay, so why only Spark is used in data engineering is because Spark is very fast. We can say it's a 100x faster. Okay, it's a in memory. We'll go into deeper from the next classes. Okay, and we can handle all the batch and the real time streaming, all the ML and the SQL, those things. Okay, and it's a very easy to integrate those things with the major storage databases. This is Spark. And the main use case of this Spark, why nowadays this Spark is in boom, is uh, kind of all kind of domain they are using this ETL pipelines. Let's say the healthcare that we seen, so we have the huge data. So if it's a faster, it's a better to use this Spark. And also, like all kind of like log analysis will see the log. Let's say we have nowadays in all the cars we have the sensors, right? So sensors are just generating some kind of data, so those are sensor data. So Spark is very fast to get those. If we are calling this 100 times faster, means it will load this data and perform all the things in just second, right? It's a very fast. All the e-commerce, all the uh, machine learning pipelines, those are built in Spark only. Then of this course we can basic intermediate level knowledge on Python and PySpark. uh, Basic, and we'll be covering the project also, so it's not a intermediate. So we'll start with basic. Okay, so our major focus on the data engineering, and data engineering is not only about the Python. Okay, our major focus is on AWS and Spark, means PySpark. Okay, here we'll be understanding uh, the concept of Spark and the coding also. Okay, so this, and once we learn this PySpark, Spark, and then Python will be using this AWS for our projects. Okay, next question will take, which is better, Snowflake or Spark? Okay, so Spark, we can say it's depend on uh, use case basically. Okay, so as our data, volume of data, what kind of workflow we need, that's why we are going to discuss all the projects in very detail. Okay, so Spark is basically very ideal for your machine learning, all the iterative algorithm, and it's a very flexible and customized basically. Okay, please cover basic Hadoop. Yeah, basically we need to cover this Hadoop to understand this Spark. It's not directly we are going to start with the Spark. So at least 1.5 session will be covering the Hadoop part, because if you're targeting to crack any interview, and if you're going for the switch or the freshers job, it's good to have the understanding on Hadoop also. So we'll be covering the Hadoop. So duration will be around 45 to 60 days around. So because we'll be covering the AWS major services comes under the AWS and the Spark and PySpark. So these two topics will take almost 30 days of time, okay, to do all the projects. It's not just learning the theory and living. So while learning the theory, doing the practical sessions, doing the projects will take some time. Yes, Hadoop will learn for data engineering. Yes. So what services? So all the data engineering services. So those services are, let me write. So those services, let's say our major focus on Lambda, Glue, okay, S3, and CloudWatch, step function with basic understanding of airflow also. Okay, Athena, Redshift, EMR, EC2. At least these services we are going to cover. Okay, for this, for Lambda, at least we need one or two project. For Glue, we need at least one or two project. By combining Lambda and Glue, we need one or two project. Okay, I can say S3 also. While doing all this project, we'll see all the CloudWatch logs and we'll monitor this thing and step function after that. Okay, so our major focus on the project side. Yes, daily assignment will be there. So mostly assignment means the practice questions will be there for the PySpark and Python, and once we'll start with the project side, so project will be there. So basically what we can do, maybe we can create a group of all the students, let's say five of group, and we'll be covering like major projects, right? So all the five people will be doing some e-commerce data engineering thing, and data I'll provide, like all the API data and all the like huge data, GB TVs of data I'll provide. Yes, because we'll be starting with the basic concept non IT can do. What are the topics? Yeah, data engineering. Mostly the interview will be major. They are focusing on the Python part. Let's say Python, we can say like 20 to 30% of interviews will be there. Questions will be there, and AWS and Spark and PySpark, mostly on the coding and performance and the performance optimization part. You can say it's almost 70 to 80%, and rest one or two question you can assume from SQL. Okay, so major focus on this, because once your interviewer will dive into this AWS, right? He has lots of question to ask. Once is start with Spark and PySpark. Only if I can ask like Spark architecture, someone can ask almost into 15 questions, and it's very difficult to answer. Yeah, I'll be providing the data set, and I have the used data set, uh, like all the XML, CSV, it's GBs, TBs of data, maybe. Yes, for DSA is very important for the product based companies. DSA is very important for data engineerings. You should know the basics of data, DSA part, at least still able to implement those things, not very high level like Python developers or those, because we'll be covering uh, lots of tools and technologies. So DSA is something that you need to have like basic understanding of DSA. You're able to write the code at least to understand those kind of questions. Yeah, then it's fine. If you know C++ in DSA, that's enough. It's not necessary every time you need to write in Python, or you can use PHP also. It's if you know the concept of DSA, that's fine. Any other questions? So DSA, we are not going to cover because it's maybe for DSA we can cover uh, like high level understanding of DSA, like which all the topics are important. Maybe you can refer some other videos or the PDF. I'll provide the document for the DSA or the important questions. Notes, yes. So this is the notes. We can say whatever we are discussing in this class will be getting recording, and then you will have this notes also. And uh, after the classes, every classes, I'll be sharing the questions also, the main interview questions for each topic that will be completing. So just a difference between AWS Azure data engineering is uh, it's just a cloud. Okay, so it's again depend on the company use cases. If you know nowadays AWS is in boom. Why? Because they are providing lots of services. All the ML services are there, all the AI services are there. Basically this AWS launched on like 2006 if I'm correct. So they have more than 200 services are there. But Azure, basically they have the strong integration with the Microsoft products. If you are using like all the Windows server, all the Office 365s, so they are mostly using those kind of Microsoft uh, basics. So it's basically nowadays like large market going towards the AWS. That's why all the startups, all the big tech companies are using AWS services, because let's say they are doing some solution, building some solution by using AWS. After some time, if they wanted to move that to the machine learning or the AI, they they do not need to change their cloud. It's a AWS only. They can just uh, use those AWS services. Hmm.
Hi, this is Karthik from Rasclow Technologies again. So you have the unmute access. Okay, so the people, if you want to call, if you want
You
to
can
ask any
ask directly.
questions, yeah, yeah. Please go ahead, Anuj. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. I have a question regarding you mentioned about that spreadsheet for the batch processing.
Yeah,
You were mentioning that some data is collecting uh, by the front desk.
yeah.
Uh, so it is being loaded to the database in a batches is what you are saying?
No. So
Okay.
let's say, that is just an example. So now let's
Example.
say, yeah. So Excel set means, let's say your front desk, that lady is just, they don't have the technical background, right? So
Acha.
before 10 years or 15 years, these technologies are not that superior. Like every hospital or every they are not having those kind of application. Nowadays they are having these applications, right? So they are just maintaining this Excel sheet or some CSV file. So maybe they are maintaining just if you seen, like they are just maintaining the book log also sometime. Once you visit any hospital, they are just asking your name or which doctor you want to see, which department you want to see. Okay, tell me your email ID and the phone number. And one lady sitting there, she's typing in a system, and they are just maintaining this Excel sheet. Okay, because this hospital, they don't have an idea to get all this business intelligence maybe before 5 years, right? So nowadays, now they are thinking we should get some kind of business intelligence now, because they have this file system now. Okay, they have the huge file now. Now they
Mm,
ask some IT company to get those business intelligence, and how they will get all this data, right? First they need to transform, because this data is just kind of mess. What that lady uh, inserted their data, how they uh, entered all those data, maybe she missed some kind of email addresses, some kind of mobile numbers, those things. So we need to filter all those data. Once we'll filter, maybe because this is the huge data, we can going to use, maybe we can convert this in a parquet file. Maybe we can insert all this data to the database, maybe the Redshift. After doing all this thing,
mhm,
our different team will take all this data and they will provide the business intelligence part,
mhm,
right?
mhm. So you mentioned important thing about that Lambda thing, right? And then this batch processing.
Yeah.
So the use case you mentioned that Lambda, you are going to use that Lambda to, let's say, copy this data to Redshift or S3.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for that you write a Python script. You
Yes.
mentioned, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Something like that.
I'll give you one use case, very easy use case. Okay, now let's say you have 10 CSV files. Okay, so 10 CSV file, let's say abc1.csv, abc2.csv, right? So all these CSV file are there now. So let's consider these are in S3 only. After that, here is your Lambda. Okay. Now, this CSV file are some kind of raw data. Okay. Let me show you if I have some data so that it's easy to understand. Mm, Okay. Now, let's see this data only. It's easy to understand. Okay. So let's this kind of data you'll get. Okay. Those CSV having this kind of data. Now it's very difficult to get some important information from this. Okay. Now this data are having this kind of CSV. Let's say all the CSV having this kind of data. Okay. Now here your maybe this all the data is provided by some company, right? Maybe this data are generated from some sensors, maybe some hospital uh, machines, right? Or some website log will be there. Maybe let's consider this as a website log data, right? So all this data is placed in your S3. After that, you need to get some useful insights of it. Okay. So how will get it? First you need to read this data, how we are reading here. Okay. After that, you need to provide this Python. So this is just a simple Python. We are writing a regex function here, right? This is just a regex. So this is a Python. So maybe this Python you need to write in your Lambda function. Okay. Lambda function. So you'll write the same code in Lambda function, Python code only. See, here we have written this function, and after that we are getting this data like this. See, now you have some understanding about that data, right? You have this IP address, you have this time, you have some delete, right? You have some kind of errors here, 401, 403. You have the post, put, get or put methods. So after getting all this data, you need to create some data frame, and then you will put this data into some file or some database. Okay, you'll see here. See, if here is the question also, maybe. So if the question is, so the few bad malformed entries, right? So all the data is here. I want to get all the bad records. Okay, let's say I want to get all the failed login attempts. What wherever I can see the 401 error. By looking into this data, will be able to give the data like how many 401 errors for which which IP address is there. No, right? It's very difficult because it's a GBs of data. So we need to understand this data. We will transform this by using all this Python or Spark, and will provide all this information like this. Okay. So your uh, answer to your question is yes. Python we need to know for writing this Lambda. Inside Lambda, you not restricted to write only Python. You can write the Java, you can write .NET, you can write Node.js. But for this class, we'll be focusing on Python, and most of the data engineering thing you'll be seeing in Python only. So it's all the practical session. I can say it's 80, 85 to 90% of practical session, because learning data engineering, if I'll teach you the theory part, it's waste for you also. Okay. Everything should be the practical. If you are learning AWS data engineering, means AWS services, whatever services, let's say S3, if you are learning all the S3 buckets and everything, you need to If I am creating in my system, you guys should have to create in your system also. All this data are here, so we can read all this data by using this Lambda, and we can process all this thing. Next question, if anything, and then we'll move to the Spark content that we are going to cover.
Sir, when one question, other
Yeah,
question,
yeah, sure.
like what kind of day-to-day work this data engineer is doing, like uh, especially like what kind of requirement comes, what kind of work which you need to perform on a day-to-day basis.
So basically, it's a mix of work, right? Sometime you'll be working on some development side. In development side, if you're working, you need to create the all the Python, Lambda, Glue script, where you are using the Python at the same time, where you are using the SQL also at the same time, where you can use the PySpark and Spark at the same time. You'll have the using of all the cluster setup, everything will be using in development setup. Okay, so it's actually a good question that you need to understand this. Okay, so the main responsibility of data engineers are, first, you need to I can say ingesting and collecting the data. Collecting the data means what? Collecting the data, maybe you need to collect all the data, maybe all the data present in some other server, maybe some other APIs, maybe some other system. You need to collect all this data where you are going to build the solution. Okay, so first you need to collect all this data. So for this, maybe here you'll have the CSV file, here you'll have JSON file, here you'll have XML file. So you need to understand all the file format, right? So after that, you need to ingest all this data. Maybe you have the target system here. Maybe this is the Redshift. You have the Snowflake. You have the S3. Maybe some uh, uh, GCS location. Maybe the GCP. Okay, and you need to put all this data here. Okay, so first thing is you are collecting the data and ingesting the data. Okay, as I told that multiple teams are dependent on your data. All the machine learning teams, they are dependent on your data. Okay, from where they are getting data? Machine learning engineers. You need to provide the data, right? Because you'll be reading all the raw data, the data which I saw here, this one. So this is a raw data. If you'll give this data to machine learning engineers, they will do nothing by using this. They will not going to understand this data. You need to understand, you need to modify it, you need to use all this Python and Spark thing. You need to put this data into S3 or the Redshift. Now see, this data is now looking in like this. You'll have the proper understanding that you have the IP address, you have the date time, you have the delete something. You can see it's a 403 errors, right? You'll have the more detailed data below. You need to create this type of data frame out of that data. Okay, so after that, this is the first task that all the data engineer will be doing. So for this, you need to write the scripts of Python, PySpark, Spark. Maybe you need to use SQL also. Okay, this is the language that you need to write. So in AWS, maybe you need to use the Lambda, Glue, S3, all the CloudWatch, step function, all the things for doing all just this simple step. Okay, you need to use the
Mhm.
warehouse concepts also. Redshift is what? Your data warehouse. same like a snowflake. Okay, so you need to use all this here also. After that, this is the first task. The second task that data engineers should do is they can they'll be building the data pipelines. Data pipelines means, I explained you, right? Batch processing and the real time. Those data pipelines they'll be creating. Okay, so which we are calling as ETL and ELT workflows. Maybe for that they'll be using the Airflow. Airflow nowadays is very important to orchestrate your workflows. So we'll be covering the Airflow, the basic of Airflows. Okay, so Airflow is similar as step function. If you know the step function, you'll easily understand the working of Airflow. Okay, so for these, again you'll be writing the code. Okay, so you'll try to make all the pipelines, like all the reusable, all the production ready pipelines. Other than that, let's say you need to clean the data, so data cleaning also you need to work on, and the transformation. So if you're working on the data cleaning and transformation, most of the time you'll be using the SQL and PySpark and Python, almost 99% time. Okay, so you need to handle the schema mismatch, you need to handle all the null values, all the bad records, you need to write the code to transform the raw data into some business ready data sets. You need to apply some kind of column mapping based on the data dictionaries. Those things you need to do. Other than that, data engineers are also responsible for the database and the data warehouse work. You need to design a table like staging, raw, all the, what is the curated, fact, diamond. Those are just keywords. Maybe you're not able to understand now. Okay, so those are the big concept. Okay, you need to write the SQL queries for some aggregation. You need to write the join. You need to. So for the data engineering, the main goal is to create everything in a cost optimization and the optimization. If you have built any data pipeline and that data pipeline is taking like 24 hours of time to load just 10 data, bad, right? So we need to very quick, right? So maybe like 1 TB of data we can process in just 10 seconds. This is the ideal. And then the fifth thing, you need to monitor and troubleshoot all the thing. Monitor and troubleshoot means, for this we'll be covering the cloud watch in our AWS. You need to, let's say you created one batch processing pipeline, and that pipeline is scheduled every day 4 p.m. That is running automatically. 4 p.m. your file is running. Okay, now your cloud was will show you the log, at what time it is started, if it got failed, why it got failed. Let's say you are expecting CSV file, and that day you'll get some JSON file. Okay, and let's say some bad records are there. If you are expecting 10 columns, you are getting only 9 columns. In that case your job will fail. Okay, you need to fix it immediately. And the data engineers are, you need to connect with the data scientists every day. Okay, analyst, stakeholders. Stakeholders means the business partners. Okay, DevOps team, right? Why you need to connect all this? Because stakeholders will give you the idea of the raw data, what kind of data you'll be getting. Okay, what kind of, from where you'll be getting the data. Maybe it data from the sensor, they are providing the data from sensor. All the cars, all the, nowadays everything having the sensor, right? Even the let's say the Xerox company, they are having the data of printers. Hospitals, they are having the data of their instruments, right? All the cars, they are generating a data in second, like 10,000 data in just 1 second they are generating, right? So those data will capture all this data. So you'll get all this information through the stakeholders. Now, data scientists are solving some kind of business problem. So you need to connect with data scientists. They will give you insights about what kind of data they need. So that once you'll get the raw data, you need to perform all the transformation so that they will get the data what they are looking for. Okay, what kind of data analyst are looking for, because analysts are solving different kind of business problem. So they are also connecting with you. You need to provide the different data set for them. Okay, so I'll explain you that also. Let's say you'll get some data from sensors, okay, or maybe the website log. So let's say the Flipkart, let's consider the Flipkart. Okay, so people are going to Flipkart, logging into there. Now Flipkart is tracking all the things. Let's say it tracking your IP address. Okay, it tracks your time. Okay, where you have clicked, all the events, which are the products you clicked. Okay, and in which product you spend how much time. All this information Flipkart is taking. Now Flipkart is having some data science, maybe some data scientists are there. Okay, so data scientists want to get some kind of questions, answer of some questions. They are checking how many person are coming to the Flipkart who are clicking on this some Adidas 1 to 3 this particular item. So you need to get all this data, right? Because this data will come in by like this format I shown you already. So it's a very mess, right? So you need to convert all this data and provide this data to the data scientists so that they will prepare all this model, so that they will get this business insights. Okay, they want to get which area the more customers are there, which city more customers are there. Okay, at what time, like huge customers are there, right? So all the information that business need. Flipkart is some big billion day, right? So at that time they have like huge spike in their user just at 12 a.m. So how they are managing all this thing? So all this thing is there. And for the data engineering, it's every time what is happening, let's say the some informatica team is there. I'll just give you a high level understanding how the data engineers will work. Informatica team is there. They are using the informatica tool, right? So there are some servers. So informatica is doing some ETL. Okay, they will read some data from different servers. They will provide this data to you in S3, let's say. Okay, so till here the informatica developers are doing something, and once they provide this data to S3, from here all the data engineers should take care of all this data. So let's say this informatica developers will schedule this job that 4 p.m. every day I'll be going to give you the file, maybe one JSON file and one CSV file. You need to process it. So now you need to do some validation, right? So every day they already discussed that you need to get one JSON and CSV. Let's say one day you only get two JSON file. You're not going to process the data, right? So all this data related thing will understand in very advanced level. It's not just a theory that we'll see all the JSON file, we'll see all the CSV file, how we are going to process what kind of data, and how we are going to put those data into our database, and how the multiple teams are using those data for their use cases.
Thank you. Thank you.
For data engineers, lots of the Spark installation and then Python. We need to set up the tools and everything. That will also take some time. Okay. So quickly we'll discuss about the Spark that we are going to cover. So Spark part mostly will be covering the Spark basic and architecture. This is very important. Okay, so in this topic we'll be covering like what is this Apache Spark, why we'll be using this, what. So here we'll be covering the Spark and Hadoop also to understand the difference. If Hadoop is already there, like MapReduce is already there, so why we need this Spark, right? What is the benefit of this? So this is one kind of interview question. Okay, and then we need to understand all the Spark ecosystem, how we can use the streaming, how we can use the SQL, and then Spark architecture also. Okay, so Spark architecture is very important. Okay, where we'll cover all the driver, all the executor, what is the cluster manager, how we can use that, what is the main use case of it, if we are writing any PySpark code, how this Spark architecture is working there, right? And then we'll jump into the DAG part. This is the advanced concept of it. Okay, DAG, jobs, stages, very important. These are again the each on is like very important interview question. Okay, like all the Spark context, Spark session will be discussing on Spark basic and architecture. Okay, we'll be doing all the hands on, everything in hands on only. Okay, so in after that we'll be covering the RDD and the data frames. Okay, so this is what the transformation and the data cleaning, what you are seeing here is the data frame and this thing, RDDs. We'll discuss about the RDD basic, we'll discuss about the transformation actions, all the key concept like lazy evolution, all the partitioning part. Okay, fault tolerance, what is the lineage graph, the very important concept for the interviews. Okay, Uh, everything in the hands on here also. Okay, and then we'll go to the data frame and the Spark SQL. Data frame and the Spark SQL. Data frame and Spark SQL means this will take more time to understand, because this is very important, very important for the interview perspective, because here we'll be seeing all the data frames, all the catalyst optimizer. This is something that once you'll understand this, you'll understand all the internal working of a Spark. Okay, so after doing all this till here, after that we'll be introducing with the CSV, JSON, XML, how we are working with all these files, what is Parquet. Okay, how we are working with the Parquet files. Okay, how to load all these files, how to transform the data, how we can transform this in Parquet and write into S3. Okay, those things. And then Spark joins, same as our SQL. Okay, after doing all this thing, we'll be starting with the Spark performance tuning. This is very important again. So for this again we'll have like multiple classes for this, maybe 3 to 5 classes this will take to understand all the Spark execution, what is DAG, all the stages, what is partition, coalesce, how the shuffle is working. Basically, we will be discussing about internal working of Spark. If you are writing some code, if you are submitting to the Spark, what Spark is thinking there, how Spark is managing all those things. We'll cover all the Spark Windows function. So once we'll cover everything, we'll be moving to the Spark streaming part. The streaming part, we'll see the batch process. We'll use some kind of Kafka also here. Kafka is used for the real time processing. It's very easy to understand. Just the basic of Kafka to show you like how Kafka will generate the data and how we can catch in real time, like Flipkart. Okay. Yeah.
Lots to cover. Too many things.
Yeah.
So
Too many
many
things.
things.
Other than that, AWS again there. So data engineering is just not related to just one technology, right? So data engineering is kind of umbrella. It's not something that if you know Python, it will help you to learn this, but you should be knowing all the tools and technology equally so that you'll implement those things. That's why currently the job market is very high for these data engineers, and AWS itself is providing these many services. If you know just two services is enough in AWS also, like Lambda and Glue. For knowing Lambda, you need to have good understanding of Python. For knowing the Glue, you need to have the proper understanding of Spark and PySpark. Okay. So last we'll take question. Unix script and CI/CD pipe. CI/CD pipeline will cover, but Unix script, it's very difficult to cover in this short time. So mostly maybe I'll guide you to learn those things. We are not covering it. CI/CD we are covering here in twin. So no questions.
1 second, Anuj. I'll just like take for next 2 minutes,
Yeah,
please.
yeah, sure.
Yeah. So hi everyone. As I said you in the initial of the session, that today we have some special offers available for the program. I hope like everyone have enjoyed the program today. Okay. And like I got to know like from many people that feedback is already like I have received from many people that so the session is more informative. Correct? Yes. So this is the flat 15% discount is available for all our courses right now. Okay. The same discount will applicable for our AWS Data Engineering as well. If you want to enroll for this AWS Data Engineering program, just contact us on this number. 1 second. Yes, on this number 8105296858. This is our calling and WhatsApp number as well. Okay, so just contact us on this number. This course duration is 2 months, weekly 5 days, Monday to Friday, Saturday and Sunday is holiday, and the class timings are evening 8 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. IST. Okay, 8 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. IST. The course price is 25,000 rupees. On this 25,000 rupees, you are going to get a 15% flat discount here. Okay, and your price will be just 21,249 rupees. Okay, the total course price will be 21,249 rupees only. So here you can just like fill your basic information like billing details. Once after giving your details, there are two payment options are there. One is for Indian credit or debit cards, EMI, UPI, every payment option is available for this. Okay. And we have international credit and debit cards are also accepted here. Okay. If you have any international credit or debit cards, I can see here a few people joined from a different country as well. For you people, so you can get this option to make the payment from your bank also. That is credit or debit cards So both the things, like even PayPal, Remitly, everything is available. No need to worry about that. Okay. Yes. If you still have any questions, let me know, please. Or else just drop your name and WhatsApp number to get today's session recording. Whoever want today's session recording, please drop your name and WhatsApp number over chat, over Zoom chat, so that you will get complete information, the complete recording, everything you'll get it here. Okay. The recording will be shared by morning, because after completion of the session, we need to send it for the editing. So you will get the recording link by tomorrow morning. So still any questions from anyone regarding the registration, regarding the course, or if you have any doubts? Okay, so please unmute yourself and you can raise your question, or else you can just like drop your message here, so that we will help you to clear the questions. So I see no questions asked here, so that like we can end up the session. So please drop me your name and WhatsApp number here in the chat, so that we will be adding you to the WhatsApp group, and and we will also, one second. Yes, and we'll also share the today's session recording and material also. Okay, so we'll just take another 1 minute. Just drop your name and WhatsApp number here, so that like we can end the session. Hope everyone have shared your name and WhatsApp numbers here already, so that you'll get today's session recording as well. Okay, and as the paid people, we have already a group created. In that group, we'll get the next session update as well. Mostly the next session will be on day after tomorrow, Wednesday. Okay, I'll just like drop the schedule of this week and the next week as well. These 2 weeks will be covering like mostly 4 to 5 classes. From 15th, it will be regular classes from 15th to 19th. Okay, it will be regular classes. Okay, yeah. Thank you so much for everyone for joining the session today. Have a great day. Thank you.